Have you ever looked at your wife, the woman you love, and thought, why does she act like this? Why is she so emotional? Why do I feel like nothing I do is ever enough? You're not alone. Thousands of Muslim men are struggling, confused, heartbroken, frustrated, and silently suffering. But here's the truth. It's not always because of her. It's because no one taught us the deeper realities that Allah and His Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, already warned us about. Most men only learn these truths after the damage is done, after the love fades, after the respect is lost, after the divorce papers are signed. But by then, it's too late. So listen carefully, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to share 7 hard truths about women that every Muslim man needs to understand, not later. Now, before it's too late, before you lose the woman who once made dua for you. Let's begin. Truth 1. She will not think like you. This is one of the biggest mistakes men make. They expect their wife to think exactly like them, to argue like them, to react like them, to move on like them, to communicate like them. But Allah never created her to be your copy. He created her to complement you, not to become you. Allah clearly says in the Quran, "And the male is not like the female." Ali Imran 36. That's not just talking about the physical body. It's about the mind, the heart, the emotions, the way she understands the world. You might say something logical, and she hears something emotional. You might say, that's not a big deal, and she feels deeply hurt. You think you're being calm, she thinks you're being cold. You think you're being honest, she thinks you're being harsh. Why? Because you are different. And difference is not a mistake. It's mercy from Allah. Our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam explained this in the most beautiful way. He said that women were created from the rib, and the most curved part is at the top. Then he said, if you try to straighten it, you will break it. But if you enjoy it as it is, you will live in harmony. Sahih al-Bukhari, Muslim. What does this mean? It means if you try to force her to think like a man, talk like a man, argue like a man, you'll only cause pain. But if you understand her emotional nature and you lead her with patience and care, Allah can put barakah in that marriage. Don't see her differences as flaws. See them as her fitra, her natural design. She was created to feel deeper, to nurture, to sense things you miss. That doesn't make her better or worse, it just makes her different. And the sooner you accept this truth, the sooner you'll stop fighting battles that were never meant to be won. Instead, you'll start building something real, something peaceful, something that pleases Allah. Because leadership is not about making her like you. It's about knowing who she is, and still choosing to love her as Allah created her. Truth 2. Her emotions will test you. One of the hardest things for men to understand is this. She will feel everything more than you do. And if you're not prepared for that, her emotions will frustrate you, confuse you, and if you're not careful, break your peace. You might come home from work tired. She's crying, upset, or silent. And you think, what now? What did I do? But sometimes, it's not you. It's just how Allah designed her. Women carry emotion like water carries weight. They feel things deeply. They think through the heart first, not the head. They react to tone, not just words. They sense moods you don't even realize you're giving off. And in those moments, your job is not to match her emotions. Your job is to stay grounded. If she's overwhelmed and you shout back, what happens? The house becomes a battlefield. Nobody wins. Everyone hurts. But if you stay calm, not cold, just calm, you become a source of safety, not another storm. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the most emotionally aware husband in history. He knew how to sit with his wives when they were upset. He gave them space when they needed it. He smiled. He listened. He never said, "Why are you so sensitive?" He respected their nature, and through that, they respected his leadership. Emotions will test your ego. You'll want to defend yourself. You'll want to say, "Stop being dramatic." But that only makes things worse. Sometimes she just needs to cry. Let her. Sometimes she just needs a safe space to speak. Give it. Sometimes she'll say something she regrets. Don't throw it back at her. Hold your silence and wait until the storm passes. You don't fight fire with fire. You fight it with water. And your calm presence, your ability to not react, is what makes you a man of sabr, a man of rahmah, and a man of true leadership. Because remember this, if you can't handle her emotions, how can you claim to lead a household? How can you raise daughters? How can you reflect the mercy that Islam teaches? The strength of a Muslim man is not shown when he controls her emotions. It's shown when he controls his own. And that, my brother, is the mark of someone who fears Allah more than his own pride. Truth 3. She will test your limits. Many brothers get shocked when their wife challenges them, when she questions their decisions, when she pushes boundaries, when she does something that feels like a test. And they ask, "Why is she doing this? Doesn't she trust me? Doesn't she respect me?" But what they don't realize is, this is her nature. She is not testing you to destroy you. She is testing you to see if you are truly the man you claim to be. Just like a lock tests the key, a woman will test a man not to break him, but to see if he is solid, steady, and safe. She might raise her voice. She might complain too much. She might disrespect you with a word or a tone. And you'll feel the urge to react, to shout, to slam the door, to punish her with silence. But stop. Understand this. She's not always looking for a fight. She's looking for your response. She wants to know, are you stable or weak? Can you stay firm, or will you collapse under pressure? Will you lose your temper or lead with mercy? Even children test their parents' limits, not because they hate them, but because they need to know, are you consistent? Are you strong? Will you protect me, even from myself? Your wife is no different. When she crosses a line, she's asking you silently, are you a man who lets things slide, or are you a man who stands with honor? And you, as the leader of the house, must draw the line, not with anger, not with abuse, but with calm strength. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had boundaries. He didn't allow backbiting. He didn't tolerate emotional games. When the mothers of the believers crossed the line, he didn't explode. He separated himself. He taught through action. He reminded them of Allah. That's real leadership. If she backbites, correct it. If she disrespects you, address it. But do it with wisdom. Correct her without breaking her. Be strong without becoming cruel. Because if you respond with patience and clarity, she will begin to trust you more. And that trust becomes love. That love becomes loyalty. And that loyalty becomes peace in your home. But if you allow disrespect, if you ignore her emotional games, if you become passive, she will lose respect. And once respect is lost, love begins to die. So don't fear her tests. They're not meant to destroy you. They're there to sharpen you, to shape you, to prepare you for real leadership. And if you pass them with taqwa, Allah will place barakah in your marriage that no book, no course, and no therapy could ever replace. Because the strongest men are not those who control women, they are those who control themselves and lead with dignity no matter who's watching. Truth 4. She doesn't want to be impressed. She wants to feel safe. Most men think women are looking to be impressed. They buy the best clothes. They drive the best cars. They grow the best beard. They spend hours trying to look powerful, wealthy, or attractive. And yet, they still feel distance. Their wife still pulls away. The spark fades. The conversations die. The love feels cold. Why? Because what your wife truly needs is not to be impressed. She needs to feel safe. And that safety is not about money. It's not about muscles. It's not about how sharp you look or how loud you speak. It's about what kind of man you are when no one is watching. She wants to know, will he protect me when I'm weak? Will he control his anger when I cry? Will he still lead with kindness when I make a mistake? She wants to feel emotionally safe, that she can speak without being mocked, that she can cry without being called dramatic, that she can be soft and not be crushed by your harshness. She wants to feel spiritually safe, that you take your deen seriously, that you fear Allah, that you pray even when she's not around, that you remind her of Jannah, not drag her toward Jahannam. And yes, she wants to feel financially safe. Not rich, not spoiled, just safe. That you're doing your best, that you're striving, that you're not lazy, reckless, or hiding things. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was the safest man any woman could be with. He never raised a hand. He never raised his voice in cruelty. He never made his wives feel worthless, even when they made mistakes. He gave them space, dignity, and direction. That's the Sunnah. So brother, don't focus so much on impressing her. Focus on protecting her, not just from the world, but from your own ego, from your own mood swings, from your own neglect. Because when she feels safe with you, she will give you everything: her love, her loyalty, her softness, her heart. But when she doesn't feel safe, she will hide. She will grow cold. And one day you'll wonder where the love went. It didn't disappear. It just couldn't survive in an unsafe home. So ask yourself, does she feel safe with me? Does she feel like she can be herself, cry without shame, speak without fear? If the answer is no, don't fix your wardrobe. Fix your character. Fix your salah. Fix your tone. Fix your leadership. Because when a woman feels safe, truly safe, she will follow you anywhere. Not because you forced her, but because she sees that following you brings her closer to Allah. Truth 5. She will say things she doesn't mean. There will come a day, maybe after a long argument, maybe after a painful moment, when your wife will say something that cuts deep. She might say, "You never loved me. You never cared. You've done nothing for me." And your heart will sink. You'll feel disrespected, unappreciated, betrayed. Because you've worked hard, you've sacrificed, you've stayed loyal. And now she throws it all away with one emotional outburst. But here's the hard truth, brother. She doesn't always mean it. Women speak from their hearts. And when their hearts are hurting, their words come from pain, not reason. You must learn to see past the surface, to hear what she's really saying underneath the harsh words. She may be saying, "I feel unseen." She may be saying, "I'm overwhelmed." She may be saying, "I'm scared of losing your love." But because she's emotional, it comes out like fire. And this is where most men fail. They take the words literally. They explode. They say things back that destroy trust. They react with ego instead of leadership. But a strong Muslim man, a man who follows the example of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he doesn't fall into that trap. He doesn't let a single painful sentence erase years of love and loyalty. He doesn't fight fire with fire. He fights it with patience. The Prophet ﷺ was insulted, mocked, and accused even by people close to him. But he didn't rush to defend himself with anger. He responded with wisdom, silence, and timing. He knew when to speak and when to walk away. So when your wife says something that hurts, take a deep breath. Tell yourself, this is her emotion, not her truth. And respond like a leader. You don't need to shout. You don't need to punish her. You don't even need to correct her in that moment. What you need to do is stay calm. Let the storm pass. Let her cry. Let her feel safe again. Then, later, when the room is quiet, when her heart is soft again, that's when you speak. That's when you tell her, what you said hurt me. I know you were upset, but I needed you to trust my heart more than that moment. And if she's a woman of Iman, she'll feel that. She'll regret her words. She'll come back with softness and apology. Because deep down, she didn't mean to harm you. She just didn't know how else to express what she was feeling. So don't let temporary words cause permanent damage. Don't let one emotional moment destroy what took years to build. Don't let your ego speak louder than your guidance. Be the one who keeps peace when things fall apart. Be the one who shows mercy when mercy feels undeserved. Be the one who leads with patience, because Allah is with the patient. And remember, brother, your silence in the right moment is not weakness. It's strength. It's protection. It's Sunnah. Truth 6. She can be your biggest test or your greatest support. There are only two paths a wife will walk beside her husband. She will either become the one who breaks him or the one who builds him into something far greater than he could ever be alone. And brother, the one she becomes often depends on the kind of man you are. This is a truth. Most men learn after it's too late, when they're sitting in an empty home, when the house is clean but the heart is broken, when they have silence, but no peace. You see, a woman is not neutral. She's not just a roommate. She is either going to amplify your strength or drain your energy, inspire your growth, or feed your downfall. But here's what most men miss. Before you complain about who she became, ask yourself who you've been, because the way you lead her will shape the way she responds to you. Look at the life of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When he came down from the mountain after receiving the first revelation, shaking, afraid, overwhelmed, he didn't go to Abu Bakr. He didn't go to Umar. He went to his wife, Khadija. And what did she say? She didn't say, "Why are you panicking?" She didn't say, "What's wrong with you?" She said, "By Allah, Allah will never disgrace you. You keep ties of kinship, you help the poor, you carry the burdens of others, and you support the truth." She lifted him when the world had not yet seen who he was. She gave him belief when no one else believed. She was his home, his calm, his strength, because he had earned that role in her life. He treated her with honor. He spoke to her with mercy. He never shouted. He never belittled her. He respected her heart. And in return, her heart became a fortress around his mission. Now imagine this in your own life. Imagine a woman who reminds you to pray when you slip, who encourages you to keep going when you're tired, who believes in your dreams when the world laughs, who whispers, "I know you can do it," when you feel like giving up. That kind of woman doesn't come by chance. She blossoms when she feels safe, respected, and guided. But if you ignore her, if you shout, if you never apologize, if you make her feel like a burden instead of a blessing, then don't be surprised when she becomes cold, when she stops caring, when her silence gets louder than her words, when her eyes stop searching for yours at the dinner table. She didn't start that way. She became that way one moment, one wound, one ignored emotion at a time. Some men break their wives emotionally and then blame them for not being soft anymore. But how can a flower bloom in a storm? Brother, if you want her to be your peace, you must stop being her war. If you want her to be your support, then carry her with dignity. Support goes both ways. You want her to believe in you, then stop lying, stop hiding, stop pretending. Be the kind of man who speaks truth even when it's hard. Be the kind of man who apologizes when he's wrong. Be the kind of man who fears Allah more than he fears her mood. Because a woman can love you deeply, but she cannot respect a man who doesn't lead himself. She might obey with her body, but her heart will stay distant. And that's not what you want. You want the kind of woman who makes dua for you in sujood, who asks Allah to forgive you when you sleep, who holds your hand in this world and walks beside you into Jannah. That woman exists. But to have her, you must become the kind of man who leads not just with rules, but with rahmah, not just with strength, but with sabr, not just with commands, but with compassion. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ once said, "The best of you are the best to your wives." Sunan al-Tirmidhi. He didn't say the best of you are the ones who memorize the most hadith, or who make the most money, or who know how to speak loudly. He said, the best of you are the best to your wives. That's your standard. That's your sunnah. That's your test. So ask yourself now, is she helping you get closer to Allah? Or has your treatment of her pushed her further away? If she's still trying, still loving, still praying, thank Allah. Hold her hand before shaitan does. Be her protector in dunya so she can be your companion in akhirah. And if things are broken right now, it's not too late. Turn back to Allah. Fix your heart. Then fix your home. Because the right woman, treated with the right love, can become the greatest motivation, the greatest mirror, and the greatest gift Allah ever gives you in this life. But if you don't lead her with wisdom, she may become your biggest regret. Truth 7. She will change, and if you don't see it, you will lose her. Brother, let me tell you something painful, something most men realize after it's too late. The woman you marry will not stay the same. And if you don't understand that, if you don't accept that, you may wake up one day and realize the woman beside you isn't smiling anymore. And the worst part? It won't be because she stopped loving you. It'll be because you stopped seeing her. You see, the woman who once used to wait by the window when you came home late, the woman who used to send you long texts saying, "I miss you," the one who decorated the house with joy just to welcome you back from work, she may now be quiet, tired, detached, distant. And it's not always because she's changed inside. It's because life changed her. And you didn't notice. Her body changed after childbirth. Her mind changed after nights with no sleep. Her heart changed after hearing hurtful words again and again. Her energy changed after years of doing everything and feeling like no one appreciated it. Maybe she became slower. Maybe she forgot things. Maybe she gained weight. Maybe she cried more. Maybe she spoke less. But did you ever ask why? Did you ever look her in the eye and say, "Are you okay? Do you feel loved? What's been heavy on your heart lately?" Or did you just compare her to who she used to be and complain about who she's become? Most men marry a woman full of life, smiling, hopeful, bright, romantic. And over time, they stop feeding her love. They stop listening. They stop caring. And then, they blame her for no longer being soft. But how can a flower bloom in a garden where no one waters it? Understand this, brother. Women do not shut down all at once. They shut down slowly, bit by bit, day by day. First, she cries and hopes you'll notice. Then she cries in silence. Then she stops crying at all. And one day, She just lets go. Not with words, not with anger, but with stillness. And that's when you've truly lost her, not her body, but her heart. And here's the deeper truth. She was never meant to stay the same. Allah created us to grow, to evolve, to age, to change. But in marriage, that change is meant to be witnessed together. You change, she changes. You grow into a man, she grows into a mother. You age into wisdom, she weathers storms with strength. But the bond should remain if you nurture it. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ never loved his wives for their youth or beauty alone. He loved them for their hearts, their sacrifice, their loyalty, and their faith. He never once complained about Khadija radhiyallahu anha being old. In fact, long after she passed, he would speak about her with love. He would send gifts to her friends. He would tear up at her memory. He never replaced her in his heart because true love doesn't fade with age. It deepens, it strengthens, it matures. That's the sunnah. So stop looking at other women online. Stop comparing your wife to strangers on a screen. Stop thinking that the new and shiny is better than the one who stood beside you when you had nothing. You want beauty? Then see the beauty in her stretch marks they carried your child. See the beauty in her tired hands they cooked for you, cleaned for you, prayed for you. See the beauty in her quiet, because maybe she's been holding in tears that no one noticed. If you treat her like an option, she will eventually treat you like a burden. But if you treat her like a blessing, she will love you in a way no other woman ever could. Brother, when you stand before Allah on the Day of Judgment, you won't be asked how attractive your wife was. You will be asked how you treated her, how you honored her, how you forgave her, how you loved her in a way that made her love Allah more. That's what matters. That's what lasts. And if she's still beside you, still trying, still cooking, still making dua for you, thank Allah. Because that's not just a woman. That's a mercy sent to you from your Lord. And if you can't see that, then it's not her who's blind. So go to her, look her in the eyes, say, I see you, I still choose you, I still love you for who you are, not just for who you were. And say it often, because Shaitan loves silent marriages. But Allah loves hearts that stay together even when they're tired. So hold her hand, wipe her tears, and walk with her into Jannah, not as perfect people, but as two people who changed and still chose each other anyway. That is love. That is leadership. That is Islam. You've just heard 7 hard truths, not from my opinion, not from modern culture, but from the reality that Allah created and the example that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ lived. Truths about the women you marry, the women you lead, the women you love. Some of these truths were difficult. They may have made you feel uncomfortable, exposed, or even guilty. That's okay, because growth starts where the ego ends. And real manhood begins when you stop blaming and start reflecting. Maybe you haven't been the best husband. Maybe you've raised your voice too many times. Maybe you've ignored her emotions. Maybe you've broken her trust. Maybe you forgot that Allah is watching the way you treat her, even when no one else is. But here's the mercy of Allah. It's not too late. Not too late to apologize. Not too late to soften your tone. Not too late to rebuild trust, to repair the connection, to return to the Sunnah. Not too late to lead your wife the way the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ led his wives, with gentleness, patience, and quiet strength. Remember what he said. The best of you are those who are best to their wives, and I am the best among you to my wives. Sunan al-Tirmidhi. You want to be a strong Muslim man? Then be strong enough to lead with mercy, strong enough to hold your anger, strong enough to protect her heart, strong enough to say, I was wrong, because she is not just your wife. She is your test, your mirror, your investment in this life, and possibly your key to Jannah in the next. And if you're struggling, if your marriage is shaky, if your home feels cold, if your heart feels numb, don't just scroll to the next video. Do something about it. Return to Allah. Return to humility. Return to your role as a leader of love, not control. Fix your prayer. Fix your tone. Fix your words. And fix your presence at home. Because when you fix yourself, with the help of Allah, your entire household can be transformed. May Allah forgive our mistakes. May He soften our hearts. May He make us men of real character, deep patience, and beautiful leadership. And may He place mercy between our hearts and the hearts of our wives. So we don't just live together, but we grow together, walk together, and rise together on the day of judgment. Ameen.